In the annals of American crime, few names evoke as much chilling fascination as Charles Manson. Born Charles Mills Maddox in 1934, his life was a trajectory of institutionalization, petty crime, and a desperate search for belonging that ultimately twisted into a reign of terror. This is the story of a man who, despite never physically committing the most heinous acts, he orchestrated some of the most infamous murders of the 20th century, leaving an indelible scar on the American psyche. We delve into the mind of Manson, the formation of his notorious family, and the dark prophecy that fueled their horrific deeds. Manson's childhood was a bleak landscape of neglect and abandonment. Born to a 16-year-old mother, Kathleen Maddox, he spent his formative years shuttling between relatives, foster homes, and juvenile detention centers. His early life was a revolving door of petty larceny, armed robbery, burglary, and auto theft, leading to repeated incarcerations. By the time he was released from prison in 1967, at the age of 32, he had spent more than half his life behind bars. This period of constant confinement and lack of stable guidance forged a deeply disturbed individual, ripe for the counterculture movement he would soon exploit. Upon his release, Manson gravitated towards the burgeoning hippie movement in San Francisco. With a charismatic, albeit manipulative, personality and a penchant for philosophical ramblings, he began to attract a following, primarily young, impressionable women seeking freedom and belonging. This group, which he dubbed the Manson Family, soon relocated to Spahn Ranch, an isolated, dilapidated movie set in the California desert. Here, Manson exerted absolute control, indoctrinating his followers with a bizarre mix of his own interpretations of the Bible, Scientology, and the Beatles' White Album. He preached a coming apocalyptic race war, which he termed Helter Skelter. Manson's Helter Skelter prophecy was the twisted core of his ideology. He believed that racial tensions would escalate into a violent uprising, with Black Americans ultimately triumphing over whites. He envisioned the Manson family surviving this apocalypse by hiding in a secret underground city beneath Death Valley, emerging afterward to rule the New World. When the prophecy failed to materialize as he predicted, Manson grew impatient. He believed that by committing a series of gruesome murders, he could ignite the race war himself, framing Black individuals for the crimes. The night of August 9, 1969, marked the beginning of the Manson family's most infamous crimes. Manson dispatched several of his followers, Tex Watson, Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, and Linda Kasabian, to the home of actress Sharon Tate, wife of director Roman Polanski in Benedict Canyon. Tate, 8.5 months pregnant, was brutally murdered along with 4 others: Jay Sebring, Abigail Folger, Wojciech Frykowski, and Stephen Parent. The scene was one of unimaginable horror, with the victim stabbed and shot multiple times. The word pig was scrawled in blood on the front door. The following night, August 10th, Manson himself accompanied 6 of his followers to the Los Feliz home of Leno and Rosemary LaBianca. Manson tied up the couple before leaving, instructing Watson, Krenwinkel, and Leslie Van Houten to kill them. The LaBiancas were also brutally murdered, with War, Rise, and a misspelled Helter Skelter written in blood at the scene. These murders, even more savage than the Tate killings, were intended to further escalate racial tensions and accelerate Manson's apocalyptic vision. The sheer brutality and seemingly random nature of the murders initially baffled investigators. However, as details emerged and connections were made, the focus eventually turned to the Manson family. Linda Kasabian, who was present at both murder scenes but did not participate in the killings, became a key witness for the prosecution, providing crucial testimony that implicated Manson and his followers. Manson and several family members were arrested in late 1969. The trial of Charles Manson and his co-defendants was a media sensation, captivating the nation with its bizarre details and the unsettling charisma of Manson himself. Though Manson did not physically commit the murders, he was convicted of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. for the deaths of 7 people, based on the prosecution's argument that his ideology constituted an overt act of conspiracy. His followers were also convicted. The trial exposed the dark underbelly of the counterculture and the terrifying power of cult leadership. Sentenced to death, Manson's sentence was commuted to life imprisonment after California abolished the death penalty in 1972. He spent the remainder of his life in various California prisons, becoming a symbol of evil and a subject of continued fascination. Despite numerous parole hearings, he was consistently denied release. Charles Manson died in prison on November 19, 2017, at the age of 83 from natural causes. Charles Manson's legacy continues to cast a long shadow. His story serves as a chilling reminder of the dangers of unchecked charisma, the vulnerability of those seeking belonging, and the capacity for extreme violence within cults. The hard-boiled comic style of this video aims to capture the grim, stark reality of his crimes and the unsettling atmosphere of the era he terrorized. His name remains synonymous with madness and murder, a dark chapter in American history that continues to provoke questions about human nature and the forces that drive individuals to such depravity.